What is going on, everyone? It is your boy Thriller here, and we are here for a cool mini video, but it's also going to be here to really promote out my friend John Jr.'s Draft League division of NFEs. If you guys want to know more about the division and want to see potential tiers that could be going on, that are being tested and working on this current moment right now. But if you guys are excited, hyped for some NFEs, definitely check out the link down below as an application to apply for the JJDL, and you can check out the NFE tiers and check out all the fun, cool stuff you can play with and use. I just recently finished a tour where we did not make it far, but I want to upload my games, and also I want to do a good preference of kind of promoting this format because this format was honestly a lot of fun. A lot of fun, a lot of close games, and honestly, some games that kind of came down to just so play. Oh, really? Real quick, how this tournament and how the NFTs were kind of rolling is that Pokemon that were from the 15 to 11 point tier were not allowed to Terra, and they were not allowed to have Eviolate. Mons that were 10 and below could be the only mons that could Terra, but they did have a price point that they could Terra into. Just note though, of a mon that was 10 points that is a 15-point Terra mon, such as Pupitar, which is a 15-point Terra mon if I drafted, you will not be allowed to hold the Eviolate. So definitely some of those Violate users that you want to have are going to be banned from the Violate if you tear it. So there's a lot more strategy and more of like an idea of how you want to draft your pick. So we're gonna really quickly go over the squad I drafted for this season, our tournament, I should say. And after playing this guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm definitely if you have not played a format, just definitely play it. It's a lot. So real quick, let's go over the pick. I think I had like pick 7 or 8 in the draft, so I pretty much hit the middle, which that's just my luck to be in the middle. My first pick was Magmar. I think Magmar was a really good, like super top tier option. It was actually a little bit more cheaper in price. I think this was priced at like 12 points, I think, which I think is going to bump up to like 13, 14 points now, which is definitely like for corrective value for Magmar. Got good value out of Magmar, getting extra money can be both physical and special. There's a lot more variants of Magmar that could be really good. Whew. And I really am happy with how Magmar was going to be my first pick here. As I did have some options, I had Flame Body as a really good violins and really good coverage options as well, which I think is really, really good. Up next, with my second pick, I decided to grab something that was kind of fun, a little more unique, and I felt like, it's a pretty decent good value for its good value for a Terra Captain. I went Pupitar just because it was a lot more fun. And after using it, probably won't draft it with Terra again unless I have a better team synergy around it. But it was a fun Pokemon, and Pupitar's a lot more fun, especially with Shed Skin. You can shake off status is really good. Dragon Ancestor is really nice. Does not have access to knockoff, which is sad. But it's a really good Pokemon, and I think it's a worthwhile Pokemon to use in the future seasons. Staravia, obviously, I love Staraptor. Staravia is kind of like a miniature Staraptor. It can do about the same exact thing we can do, except it cannot close combat, so it cannot check steals, but they are very limited steals in the format. You're not going to fight a steel type every single week in NFE stats, especially if you want to go for a super extremely low tier steel type. Um, but also, by the way, everyone can run a Violite. I do think John is changing the rule, though, that a Violite will be limited down to potentially 2 Pokemon on your team that can run a Violite, which I think is a lot more better. I think every Pokemon being able to run a Violate makes it not fun. Excuse me. I just think it's really that good. But overall, Staravia, really good Pokemon. Really good to just click buttons in most teams. I mean, it's just a really good, strong Pokemon, which is really good. Gloom, I felt, was a really good defensive option that I wanted. It was a good answer to the few fairies that could be a little bit problematic in the format. And also just a really defensive and annoying wall for a lot of teams to have to deal with. So I felt it was a really good, solid budget pick. One of the Crocodiles, my next pick. I really needed a good water type, and I think with having access to Sheer Force, this was a really good option and just provides really good offensive pressure, especially with the Dragon Dances. Does not have some of the coverage options that I would really like it to have, but for what it can offer to a team, I think it's really great. Excuse me. It can offer to a lot of things. It does insanely good value for my team. So really good mon. Honestly, with Kupfu, I only drafted it for Crab. Shout out to Crab if you're watching this. But I felt like like decent fighting was pretty good. I felt like it could be really good, especially with inner focus. There are a lot of good you valued intimidators in the lower tiers and NFV as well. And I just felt like this was just good value. It was just a good value pick for what I wanted. It gave me a decent speed tier, give me a good fighting type, and it gave me a fighting type that could not be intimidated, which I think was really great. Up next is Fracture. I really like having a strong dragon in. I originally wanted Dragonair with Terra, but unfortunately Dragonair got sniped because I was going to grab that second round, not my first round. But someone made the smart decision to grab that in their first two picks, which was smart, but also, god yeah, it hurt. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I had food, so I'm getting tired now. I'm trying to get ready to sleep here soon, but I want to do this video real quick. But Fracture, really good Pokemon. Obviously, with Mold Breaker, Unnerve, really good abilities there. And this one was just a strong Pokemon. I think it was a really good option here. Now, I did debate between Mischievous and Vigoroth here, and Vigoroth, funny enough, went right after I picked this. But I valued Mischievous more because it was a really good defensive type. Now, this was a Pokemon that could not Evolve, but it's a really good special defensive Pokemon. It can be usually good with its viability, good speed tier. Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split is just a really good annoying Pokemon to face with, and I felt it was just a really good value for my team. Up next, we had Hisuian Zora, which again was another normal and was another ghost type and another normal type, but it was a normal type that gave me illusion, which really was going to focus like throw off people of how you were going to play around this Pokemon. And exactly what was going to make you young, whether it forced you to excuse me, force you to Terra or not, which I think was really good value, and I think this was just a really good low budget pick that could really benefit the team. And up next, we had Hisuian Growlithe, which I really wish could have made a Terra Captain. I felt like this would have been such a really good value Terra Captain as well. And it's just a strong Pokemon, man. It's really strong. It still hits really hard. Still gets the cover crews of Head Smash and Flare Blitz and Rock Head. So really good value Pokemon. And then for 2 points, I think it was really cheap. And in 1 point, this was also another one that was relatively cheap, but I can kind of see why it was in 1 point. Killer Wattrol, it's not really, I mean, Wattrol, I should say. Wattrol's not really that good. I really wanted a good electric type, though, because waters were a little concerning and if Lions were a little bit as well. And I just felt like Latrell was really good, and I think it was just really good value. So, with that being said, let's go into our first game. So, our first game, excuse me, our first game is taken on Just for Fun Friend, aka Broken Binky. They were the first pick overall, and they had Duraludon and he got Primate, funny enough, but they did not bring Primate, which is shocking. They had Terra Captains in Ghastly and Hippopotas, which I think was really interesting. But for this build, we went with the Terra Grass, Dragon Axe, Pupitar, which outspeeds Primate. We have a Boots Magmar, which is designed to kind of just be here to be annoying to deal with damage. We have Bulk Up Kung which is like no speed, which is primarily bulk invested. We have a fully more specially defensive, but still just not physically defensive Gloom with no grass coverage, which was a bit of a mistake on my end. We have Set of Crocodile, which is basically designed to outspeed everything. And then we have Choice Scarf Staravia with only Final Gambit. I'm basically here to claim alive. Now, he did have a Charger Bug on their team, and I was going to use it so I can make sure it was webs did not stay on my side of the field. So I ended up wanting to go with that strat. And he actually leads off with Geraldon, ends up staying in, and I did check the calc beforehand and I made sure I could get rid of Duraludon if I could, and it showed I could. I went for it and got rid of Duraludon, which is really good because after the match they told me they were choice specs, so I really didn't want that happening. So I go Kung as he's going to go Pipitas. Unfortunately, I do am forced to switch out here as the Stealth Rocks are going to come up here. I'm going for a free Sleep Powder here as there is no thing that can switch into this. I get my Sleep Powder off, and now I pull out the switch here, I believe, into my Crocker Rock. I know my Croc Rock by Crocodile. I do get my Crocodile. We do not see the Intimidate, so this is Moxie Croc Rock, which I did not really prep for too much in this matchup. As I'm going to get a Dragon Dance off here, is I am now going to go for the Ice Punch here on the Grotto, which cannot hold an item, by the way, but it is going to be Yachi Berry. Good prep by my opponent, and they're going for Seed Bomb, but it does not kill me. Grotto is somewhat bad. I'm really sad about this. In comes the Tentacles. I'm going for another Ice Punch. This reveals to not be a Violate, which is really good information for us there. As I'm going for a go for a Rock Slide there, as they do not wake up. Into the Hippopotas, I do go for the Liquidation because the Liquidation was pretty much free into clicking every single time. We unfortunately lose our Crocodile, but now I go to Magmar and I get to click a Flamethrower and do pick up the KO on the Hippopotas. Now in comes this Rock, which I kind of debated staying in, but the fact that I could get Earthquake, I didn't really risk this. And we do see that this Rock, I believe, had loaded dice and was scale shot. So this actually provided a bit more of a problem here. And this is where I really regretted not having a grass type move. And I honestly am a little surprised that my opponent would stay in there. Actually, let's talk about that play again. I'm actually a little surprised that they would stay in going for the knockoff there. when that play kind of made zero sense. Like, I think when you're gonna potentially, unless you know for a fact you can live a hit from Gloom, well, the thing is, though, is this, like, Gloom lives the hit, it gets the thing up there. Unless you guarantee knock me out, that you know you do. I just think that's a really weird play. I personally just don't see the value of that play, but it ended up working out for him as he's going to get the Earthquake off. He is going to get the plus one attack. I am now forced to go to my Pupa Tar and essentially sack this thing off as I am going to go ahead and Terra. He's going to go for the knockoff, and thankfully, we do not get the KO to there as we are going to not get this thing knocked out. And in goes the Ghastly, which I'm expecting you to be Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, primarily probably Choice Scarf here, as we're going to see that does 51%. But Magmar goes for the flamethrower, and Magmar is going to clean up his endgame, picking up a grand total of 4 KOs for Magmar. You already know Magmar is getting the thumbnail, by the way. And I'm really excited for Magmar. And that was a really good Magmar game. That was just really good. My opponent had very little to counterplay Magmar. So let's go ahead and get to the next game. And this one is our next game. This was one of the few mons where Tingatup was allowed to not only Terra, but also was allowed to get Violate. So one of the only few, well, not few, but there was a decent handful. But the main, like the number one targeted Pokemon that was the biggest Terra Captain Snipe, or it was the best Terra Captain value because it was a Terra Captain that could hold the Violet, which I think was really good off there. So up here we have Kilowattrel with Yachi Berry. We have Magmar, which was not Boots, which low key should have been Boots in this matchup. I won't lie to you. We have a loaded dice Pupitar. We have Spell Tag Zora. We have, I believe, Dragon. No, Lum? No, I should have been Lum. Honestly though, I don't remember what I was on this thing. And then we have Hardstone, Hisuian Growlithe. I decided to lead off with my Zoro, but I disguised as my Magmar as I do force the Terra on the Tingatup, which I think was the biggest thing I needed to force there. As I'm going to go for the knockoff here, get rid of the Eviolite. I am now going to go ahead and go for the Shadow Ball, which I should have went for better Malice, in all honesty. But somehow, Zoro is a god and lives a knockoff from that Tingatup. I go for another Shadow Ball here as it is bulletproof, which was good prep in my own opponent's end here. I go for the knockoff here, get rid of the leftover, says I'm just going to go ahead and spam Bitter Malice now. And to my surprise, my opponent was willing to sack off this Pokemon and get the spikes up, which makes a lot of sense here. So we do pick up the KO there as in comes a Combuskin here. Now I actually looked at the calc here and I should have been Shadow Sneak because we're gonna find out here as I'm gonna go for a Shadow Ball here. If I was Sneak, this would have put us in a really good position because Sneak would have put him in range of either dying or we would have killed it, or it would have killed itself to the recoil from Flare Blitz. So definitely a big misprep on my end is they are going to go for the close combat here and actually pick up the KO on there. And now I'm forced to go into my Pupitar here, and I'm forced to make a 50-50. Now, in hindsight, should have went into my Pupitar a lot earlier before letting Kilowatt Troll go down, which you're going to see it to be a bit of a massive misplay on my end. But looking at this now, I'm forced to make the 50-50. Either he is going to Flare Blitz me or he is going to close combat me. I am Terra Ghost this time around for this matchup. So it comes down to this 50-50. I have to actually make the correct 50-50 here. And I end up making the correct 50-50, but he gets a crit, which I don't think mattered. I think I was dead regardless. But now I go to my Rex here, is I'm going to actually go for an SD right here and hopefully try to get some good damage off on here. They are actually revealed to be Thunder Wave, which is really annoying. But I'm going to go ahead and go for the Scale Shot. As I go for Player Up, I do live, thankfully. Unfortunately, I do get paralyzed, and that paralyzation is actually going to cost us there. But I don't think it would have cost us the game. I think it just costed us the chance to kill the Tinkatonk. As the Tinkatunk's going to go for a knockoff here, as we're going to go for the Agility here. And I'm going to go ahead and click Head Smash here, which thankfully is enough to knock off the Tinkatonk. But now the Grookey comes in here, and Grookey essentially helps seals the game here as the Grassy Glides that come out. I'm actually going to die to that. In comes my Magmar, which again should have been Boots. If I was Boots, I think I had a chance to win this game. As I'm going to go for the Flamethrower here, and I actually took Psychic off on this build last minute, I believe, and this Sneasel is going to go for Close Combat, knock me out, and unfortunately knock me out. And I get the Flamethrower Bird from him, but that was honestly a really good game to Enzo. We really could have won that game, but it depended if he was a Violate Artifact, I think he had the game won regardless. But if he wasn't a Violate, it could have been a roll potentially to knock him out, and we would have been in a really good position. Also, if I didn't get paired there, we could have got rid of the tank, and then it would have maybe forced in the Grookey, and then I could have just spammed flamethrower until I died, and then I would have had still Growlithe in the back, which could have won me the game, and I also could have had maybe Pupitar? No, I think it was just gonna be Growlithe, and Growlithe could have potentially won the game there by agility. If I had agility, I pretty much won the game always. Or if I was faster, which I should, ooh, I might have thrown the game. I should have been faster than Martabacks, but who knows how fast the afterwards would have been. Right. But yeah, still overall, there were some really fun games, and honestly, we didn't make semifinals, but I had a lot of fun with this, and I even decided to go ahead and sign up for and tell John that I'm going to sign up for the NFE division and be able to play in both the standard Paldea decks and the NFE. The NFE one is honestly just a lot of fun. I don't have to be really super mindful, super prep heavy. I can just enjoy prepping and just have a fun time with the season. And it's still really fun, really cool, fast-paced games, even though they took a lot longer than it looked. So, if you guys are interested in any of these, please do go check out the link down below, which is the application form, and please do sign up for this NFE season for JJDL season 5. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and if you guys are new, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I would greatly appreciate if you guys can help me hit 200 before the end of the year. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that like button for some Magmar gaming. And until next time, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.